Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I typically do reviews to the news, politics, celeb news, things like that. Tonight, I am doing a review on the latest episode of the challenge. I feel like my notes are a little bit shorter than usual. If you typically watch my reviews, I have my notes on the side and I kind of just go through them in chronological order so I don't miss anything. So let's jump right into it. Immediately, Amber B is on a high because she just won her gold skull in the last episode, and Darrell is starting to list out in his confessional the people who already have them and kind of how it's down to the wire at this point. All the men's skulls are all taken up, so at this point, they have to steal a gold skull from a man that already has one, and the girls, I think there's potentially one or two left. Big T is super happy for Amber B. If you know, Big T is kind of friends with all the rookies, which is Amber B, Gabby, before it was Amber M, things like that. But she's super happy for her, and I love that because it seems like a lot of people have turned on Amber B in the past weeks or so. And with that, Kyle in his confessional is saying he doesn't care for Amber B. He said she's fake, she's a backstabber, just the fakest girl in the house. Okay, no one trusts Big Brother people, but he's also friends with Devin, who doesn't like Big Brother people. So I feel like it's just a bias due to his friendship with Devin, and Devin doesn't really like anybody. But I'm glad that Amber B got her skull. I'm just glad when people get their skulls in general. Gabby is venting to Devin, saying that they made a mistake in the past week. And yeah, they did make a mistake. TJ basically told them that it was gonna be a girls' week. He's like, Gabby, are you sure? Are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I'm sure. And they still gave it to someone else. If anything, you still should put yourself down. I know that Devin already had a skull, but you need your skull. There's only so many more weeks left. At this point, I don't know how many more episodes there are, but they know it's down to the wire. I don't feel bad for Gabby. I don't feel bad for anyone who was in power and didn't go down themselves. That's all I have to say. CT's in the room when Devin and Gabby are having this little back-to-back situation. It's chiming in, but also being I want my skull too because he doesn't have his. And he's saying how people are kind of refusing to put him up because he's a bigger guy and no one wants to give him his skull because he's a big guy. No one wants to run a final against him, which makes sense. That's why Lolo don't have one. That's why Darrell don't have one. When you're a big, strong player with this whole skull situation now, you basically don't have the opportunity to go down. People are preventing you from going down if anything. Josh is saying he's feeling targeted and unsafe about his skull, and he knows / feels like people are gonna be throwing him in. He was saying this to Nani, and the conversation was kind of friendly but somewhat flirty. And then Nani was being kind of weird about it, saying there was a whole family / flirty situation. And I was like, are y'all flirting? I feel like Nani's flirting with everybody every season. If you've seen the past 3 or 5 seasons, Nani has a romantic interest in every single one. Hopefully Josh is not the next one who's your partner. That will get messy, but whatever. Just a little minor, not really significant moment of episode. Next, we see CT putting some sort of contraption on Big T to maybe prep her or train her. I've never seen that in my life. We need a little bit of entertainment and lighthearted fun. Big T tells Gabby that Amber B feels blindsided, so he's kind of helping out her friends because they are not friends anymore. They used to all be in an alliance together, and now it's split, and Big T is essentially in the middle of it. And Gabby's like, yeah, I did blindside her, and what? And it's just clear that it's not gonna get resolved. Gabby's like, yeah, in hindsight, I wish I would have gone in. If anything, Amber B should be happy I gave her skull. I'm not gonna really trust her after this, but I feel upset about my situation. I don't know why she's mad. I'm yeah, people on the season have been really mad and salty when they've been thrown in and gotten their skulls. Cause I get they are mad that they were thrown in on a nasty note, but you have your skull. That happened with Cam, that happened with Kyle, and now I guess Amber B, but it's kind of Gabby and Amber B were friends. That's what the difference is with that situation. Lolo vents to Darrell and saying that people are not going to let her get her skull and they're blocking her from it. And I guess it's kind of obvious. She has not gone down once. She has not won once. No one has mentioned her name. If anything, people are kind of just talking about her when she's having her blow-ups with Nam, because obviously everyone knows that they are just not meshing with each other this season at all. This is their first time meeting and they're having really bad arguments. They're butting heads, and it's just I just don't know what the main resolve will be for them unless they unpair or just leave. This week's challenge is called Airlift, and per usual, Corey is a rogue agent and isn't competing. I just feel bad for this man. I think every other week he has not competed because he's lost a partner every other week. And basically, the pairs have to hold onto a rope from a platform. The helicopter has to take them to this area with there's these buoys, I think that's what they're called, and then swim to the platform and buzz it. At first, I was am I gonna break down each partner? Because at first it was super, super good. Leroy and Casey, good. Leroy was making a mention that he has been practicing his swimming. Swimming is very important in this challenge. No one make or break you if you do not know how to swim. Next was Amber B and Darrell, good. Cam and Kyle, good. Nani and Josh, I was confused because I was was Josh not paying attention? Nani grabbed hers. Josh kind of was staggered, trying to figure out whether to grab what. Realized he missed his, tried to grab hers, and I'm not, this is no shade to Josh, but he's a bigger guy versus Nani who's small. There's no way that rope could have held both of you guys. It would have been really awkward. So he didn't grab his, Nani grabbed hers, and I think Josh either told her to drop or kind of almost made her fall. It was very confusing, but she fell ultimately, even though I guess if one of your partners doesn't make it, you're completely both disqualified. And then when they got back, Devin, who hates Big Brother, right, is making remarks like, wow, you pulled a Josh. Josh would only do that. Wow, Josh, you don't know how to do this. I'm like, Devin, you have not gone yet. So who are you to have any power to say how he's doing on this when you haven't actually gotten the chance to go in and try it? Because one thing is like, you did it and you won or something, but you haven't gone in yet, so you don't know how difficult it is. So Devin is just talking a big talk. He's getting everyone annoyed. Surprise, surprise. Josh is getting riled up. Nani's getting riled up. And I'm like, okay, Devin, let's see how you do, because I'm sure it could happen to anybody. Anissa and Fessy go, and Anissa nearly missed her rope, and I screamed. I was like, okay, never mind. She grabbed it. She grabs the rope and plummets into the water. I was like, Anissa, you almost didn't make it, but then you made it, and then you fell. I'm like, Anissa, you know what? Just, it's okay. It's okay. You have your skull. You and Fessy both have it. You guys are good, but Anissa, I don't know. Next is Nam and Lolo, and I have no words. They got the rope. They dropped a little too early. And then Lolo looked like she was in pain when she was on her back. It was very scary and concerning. Nam noticed it, but he's like, I have to keep swimming, so at least he can get one of us to the platform, because maybe if she's far away, he can grab her. And she's kind of like wincing in pain, like groaning actually. And then when he gets to the platform, he tries to pick her up, and she's like, no, leave me, like drop me. And I'm like, he's trying to level you up onto like, Lolo, calm down. I understand that you're an Olympic player. I understand that you're a better individual player, but he's been your partner for about over a month now, and there's just bad blood with them. I don't understand. It's really unfortunate considering how they started. Next was Gabby and Devin, and I screamed. He did the exact same thing as Josh. He said, Josh, you didn't grab your rope. Josh, what were you doing? He didn't grab his rope either, and he looked like an idiot because he did the exact same thing as him. That's why I was like, it'd be different if he wasn't talking on Josh, or if he actually won and tucked on Josh to just be a mock, but he didn't. So I was like, not Josh. I was like, Devin, you are literally wow. And everyone was laughing because it was so obvious how he was making fun of Josh and did the exact same thing as him. And then also saw Josh do that and not learn from his mistakes. But you know what? Devin is a pot stirrer. That's his character in this season, so yeah. Next is CT and Big T. I am happy that they made it onto the rope because she was shaking before grabbing a hold of it. You saw that before the commercial and then after that. And they end up winning. Apparently it was a landslide. Like they didn't even like break down the numbers. They were just like Big T and CT. I was like, oh my God, that's super good. I'm super happy for her. She was screaming, she was happy. I was really happy for her for this because if you recall when her and CT won like 4 weeks ago, and CT was the one who kind of like held her up, this one was both of them. If anything, she was ahead of CT. Like apparently they won by a lot. So I'm super, super happy for her. No one has to say, oh, CT's carrying the team, CT. No, it was both of them. So I'm super happy for them. So obviously it means that either of them have to get their skull. Hopefully one of them have to put themselves up. After they get back to the house, CT starts hastily going around and saying, hey, I want you guys to put this guy up. But he wasn't saying who. He's kind of like dancing around it, but everyone knew it was Josh. I think he used the word buffoon. I don't know what word he used. Everyone just assumed it was Josh. Big T and CT pull up to the igloo function in high spirits, but the biggest takeaway from the party, Devin and Amber hug each other and make up, but then talk trash in the confessional. Nani is told that people want to nominate Josh. And obviously that's a trigger point when like you are told that your partner is being targeted because that means you too. And it's like, why is everyone talking about me, etc., etc. So it's just kind of like a sheesh, like what's gonna happen? After the igloo function, Gabby tells Devin that she is mad that he was talking to the enemy. But he, in his confessional, I don't know if he said directly to her, he's like, she's always talking to Fessy and Josh. And I'm like, despite Devin hating Big Brother, I understand, I can see his point, but like him and Gabby, I feel like, were they always partners? I think, no, she had that other guy, I forgot his name already. So like, I see what he's saying because she talks to the people he doesn't like and he's very vocal about who he doesn't like. But then this one was like both you guys blindsided her, but it doesn't mean you have to not be friends. And even though Devin's being fake about it, I don't know, like they're just not really good partners, obviously. So basically, even before the deliberation, it's very much clear that it's between Devin and Josh being thrown in against CT, and Josh gets wind of it and is kind of like breaking down about it. Not saying he's sobbing, but he's like not really feeling great. No one's gonna feel great when they know that their name is being thrown out because you're gonna feel targeted, you feel personally attacked, and that's just the game. Kyle is talking to Darrell and saying that he's the flip vote, and in Darrell's confessional, he's saying like he's in the middle and doesn't know like what to do, and he doesn't really know who to put up. And it's kind of interesting because like the whole last like 15-20 minutes of the episode, they were like, Darrell doesn't know what to do this, Darrell, like they could not keep Darrell's name out of their mouth. And it was just like, where was this energy weeks ago? Like no one's really mentioned his name, and CT even was almost like, is Darrell my friend? Is Darrell on my side? I'm like, have you talked to Darrell? You're mad about Darrell not talking to you, but have you talked to him is the question. I don't really know. I haven't seen that on the TV. During the deliberation, Devin admits that CT said that he wants Josh specifically for himself because everyone knows CT is going to put himself down because he's in power this week. Devin tries to convince everyone to not put him down because it's more beneficial for them to have CT not in there. And it makes sense because CT is a big player. CT is a competitor. He's won. He's a champion. So it's kind of like, of course, yeah, you wouldn't want to go against CT, but it's like either way, Devin or Josh, CT is probably going to beat either of them. So it doesn't really matter if he or Josh is the one that's put down. But you know, he's just trying to do his politics. He's trying to win. He's trying to convince everybody. And it looks like they're convincing him at that point. Ultimately, though, Devin and Gavin were the house vote. They were compromised. And the deciding vote was Darrell. Everyone keeps saying that, and you could see him on the image. I couldn't really see anyone else except for him because everyone was just kind of looking out for him. I don't know why. And I'm not sure if this is going to bite him in the ass in the end or not because they are probably going to just interrogate him about it later. Before the rest of the house officially knows, CT goes and tells the bedroom that has Kyle and Devin saying that it's like a 7 whatever number vote and it was Darrell who was the deciding number. And I feel like they kind of already know based off of that it's going to be Devin. In the other room, you see Josh crying and like just being down about the possibility of being put up. And I think it's Corey and it has to be Nani who were there. They were trying to like console him. And yeah, I don't know. Josh is just very emotional. I mean, I feel like I'd be emotional on the show, but it's just that person's Josh. And then we see a really big moment, kind of. Lolo decides she's gonna leave and everyone is listening in. It's kind of like she was saying she's gonna leave and no one looked like they were crying, no one looked down, no one looked emotional about it, they were just being nosy. Like I said, I feel like no one's really cared about anyone's emotions essentially in this game, but again, everyone's playing their own games, they barely look outside of themselves, and I get that because it's $1 million on the line. But like when she was saying like, I'm gonna be leaving, everyone was just like their face was my thumbnail. She was like, you know what, y'all didn't want to go against me anyway, so I know you don't really feel some type of way about this. And they're like, yeah, you're right. And we get down to the crater. TJ announces that there's a security breach. From my understanding, I thought that meant that a person's gonna be coming in. That's what happened with Ashley when they said security breach. Ashley came in, or is it an infiltration, whichever one it is. But now no one really knows what that means. Like, so now there's 2 guys without girls, so it's Corey and Nam, but then it's a guys week, I think. So it's kind of just really confusing. There's a skull that needs to still come in, but there's still an uneven number. We don't know what this breach is, especially because they cut off the episode as soon as it happened. It was a very good cliffhanger, jaw dropper moment. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments and see you in the next video. Bye!